Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode in the video series Pancakes Plus, where we do everything breakfast foods, all kinds of different breakfast foods. Special emphasis on pancakes and French toast. And for this episode, we're going to make caramel apple pancakes. Now, when I was growing up, I had some cousins that had show cattle, and some other relatives that had pies and cakes and jams and jellies and what have you, that they would enter into the county fair contest. So I grew up going to the county fair, which was a big deal for me. And one of the things that I liked about getting at the county fair was a caramel apple. Those were the greatest. So I said to myself, I think I can make a pancake that tastes an awful lot like a caramel apple. So that's what we set out to do. Now, if you've ever made caramel, you know it's a pain. You have to have a temper, you have to have a thermometer, you have to brush down the sides. It's a lot of trouble to make caramel. So I started looking for an easy way, and I have found an easy way to make a delicious caramel. First thing you do is you start off with sweetened condensed milk. Now, a trick on this one is to try to find a can of sweetened condensed milk that is not one of the pull tabs. If it's got a pull tab on it, sometimes the pressure can build up enough in the can that the pull tab will rupture and you'll lose all your caramel all over your pan. So, first thing you want to do is you want to take the label off. Take the label off and drop this little puppy down into some water. Now, you make sure that your can is totally submerged in the water. You want it to come up about an inch or an inch and a half, maybe even 2 inches above the top. And this is basically a water bath. So you're cooking this sweetened condensed milk in this water bath for anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. So for this, you'll need to start, I'd like to do it the day before. But you turn this on, bring this thing up to a boil, a rolling boil, turn it down to a simmer, and then depending on how dark and how thick you want your caramel, I'll let it simmer for 2 to 3 hours. But so we've got that going. When it comes to a boil, simmer it down. Then I like to cover it. That way you don't have to come back all the time and keep adding water to it. Keeps it from evaporating. So, all right, we got that going. Now then, for the apple part, take a really good baking apple. This is a Braeburn. You can use Braeburn. You can use Honeycrisp, Macintosh, any good baking apple, Rome, Granny Smith. And then take your box grater on the part, the size hole that you would use like for hash browns. And then you just grate this apple until you get 2.5 cups of apple. And I think we're almost there. My cameraman was good enough to grate some before we came on. Just looking at it, I think that's probably going to be pretty close. That's going to be pretty close. All right. So, let's do some more of the apple, more of the better. The more the merrier. kind of watch the core and don't stay away from the core, because that stuff's not good. All those hard parts in there. All right, that's fine, right there. That's excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, now then, in this bowl, I have 1 1/4 cups of white lily all-purpose flour. Make sure it's white lily. And to this, I'm going to add 1/4 cup granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of Clabber Girl baking powder, and 1 teaspoonful of baking soda, Arm & Hammer baking soda. So let's stir that up. Make sure we got a good mixture in that. Make it smooth. Make sure everything's mixed in there together. Alrighty. And in here, I have 1 1/4 cups of redneck buttermilk. Now, I call it redneck because it's not cultured. Doesn't have any of the lactobacillus bacteria in it that you need in your gut. If you need to replace that, you need to drink cultured buttermilk, but this won't work for that because the heat kills the bacteria. And to that, we're going to add 1/4 cup canola oil. I know a lot of this is redundant. I know you've heard it before. If you've seen any of our other videos, you've heard all of that before. But we have new people coming in all the time, hopefully, and they need to get in on all the knowledge too. 1 egg, or as my cameraman calls it, hen apple. 1 hen apple. And we mix all this up together in this little, see how it turned yellow when the yolk broke? Yolk broke. Made a funny. And that egg allows the buttermilk and the oil to combine into an emulsion, which makes it really smooth. Okay, so we are finished with that. Now then, we're going to take the wets, add it to the dry, get it all stirred up. You need to make sure it's all incorporated, but do not overmix. That's very important. The pancakes will turn out tough if you overmix the batter. There will be lumps. Now, if you've seen our video Pancakes 101, you know this is our basic foundation pancake recipe. All the pancakes that we do are based around this recipe right here. Now, this deviation, we're going to take this shredded apple and fold it in. We're not going to stir it in, we're going to fold it in. Very carefully. Start from the outside, go to the inside, outside, inside. Inside to the outside. And rotate the bowl. And fold all this in. Fold that in so that all that apple gets dispersed amongst all the pancake batter. There's nothing worse than having a non-dispersed apple. Non-dispersed shredded apple. So you can see how it's beginning to get all uniform in there. All right. And our caramel is over there cooking away. So we need to turn that down to a simmer. All right, we got all that incorporated. So we're ready to let it rest. And while that rests, we're going to heat up our griddle to 350. Let that heat. while the pancake batter rests, and we're going to turn this down to a simmer and set the timer for about 2 hours. And then it should be just about ready in about 2 hours. But we won't make you wait 2 hours. We're going to take a cut out here and let the griddle get hot, let the batter rise. All right, back with our caramel. These cans I cooked for about 2.5 hours. And then it's really simple if you'll plug up the right appliance. And that doesn't work with a toaster. You open these little puppies up. Like so. And after you take them out of the hot water, let them cool, and then take them out of there, put it into here. Look at that. How about that, Alex? Does that look like caramel?
Pretty darn close. How about that?
Now, if you want it thinner or not quite as rich, you can use whipping cream to thin it down. Or this was at 2.5 hours. If you cook it for 2 hours, it won't be that thick. And it won't be that dark. So either way you want to do that works fine. Alright, is our griddle, yeah, our griddle's ready. So let's make some pancakes. We have spray your griddle down with some canola oil spray. I use a 1/2 cup measuring cup to put them on the griddle. If that's not as big as you want them, you can use them a little bigger. If you want them smaller, use a smaller cup. Here we go. Now then, we're waiting on them to turn dry around the edge and for them to start bubbling in the middle. So, we're going to take a break while that happens. We'll be right back. Alright, they got dry around the edges and bubbly in the middle, so we flipped them over. Now then, we're just waiting until they get firm to the touch without any kind of liquid left in the center. I believe they're almost there, Mr. Alex. They will be in just a second. All right, I believe they're pretty well there. They're springing back really well like they need to. All right, let's put you some on this plate. Plating up one. Plating up two. And 3. And spoon some of this caramel over it. I actually think it needs to be a little thinner, but it may thin out from the heat from the pancakes. Boy, doesn't that look good? has got caramel apple with some pecans on it. Sprinkle a few little pecans on there, like so. Hit it with some homemade whipped cream or some of this store-bought squirt 'em up whipped cream, like this, like so. A little bit of caramel right on top of the whipped cream. Yep, needs to be a little thinner. All right, there you have it. Caramel apple pancakes with a few pecans on it. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure and like it, subscribe, and share. And until the next time, we're wishing you Heart of Dixie dishes from the Heart of Dixie.